Hey Blitz, today we're talking about the kipping swing. The kipping swing. The kipping swing! Oh no! The kip! Ah! Ellie! Die! It's the thing that causes the most fuss in the fitness world is probably the kipping swing. And you guys out there that just despise the kipping swing. That was my crotch. I don't blame you. There's a lot of floppy flying fish things going on out there. And a lot of that is just caused by people don't know what they're doing when they're learning the kipping swing. Why are they using the kipping swing? What are the benefits of the kipping swing? So I hope to kind of piece all that together in this video. I know from over the years of training that being able to do many strict pull-ups and training strict pull-ups has gotten me better at kipping pull-ups. And whoa, the other way around, doing kipping pull-ups has also gotten me better at being able to do strict pull-ups. And that's what we're here to talk about, because both are great to do, and the kipping swing is a great tool to have in your tool bag when you're training. Let's put it this way. Let's take the pull-up bar out of the equation and just put it in a different training kind of vision for a second. When we're trying to get better at weightlifting, whether it be maybe some deadlifts or some squats, we're not always taking one variation of the lift to try to get stronger, right? We're not one rep maxing all the time. We do lighter percentages, moderate, and then build up to heavy, different ways to train. There's also ways we might do pause deadlifts, tempo deadlifts, squats with pauses and tempos. Those are all different variations that we plug into our training to eventually meet the end goal of getting stronger. Think about the kipping swing as being the light percentage that you're doing up on the pull-up bar. I'm more efficient. We're gonna talk about some other things that go with that allow me to do more reps, which will in turn get me stronger. It's a different variation of pulling. We're gonna go over the great benefits of doing the kipping swing. It's most definitely a tool that we can use to help us get stronger at upper body pulling. And quite a few more things. Overall, I really want to make sure you guys understand where to start when you're first learning the kipping swings, kind of some requirements that need to be put with moving dynamically on the bar, and just kind of hitting some points of what a good kipping swing will look like, what a not so great kipping swing will look like, so we don't look like those floppy flying fishies up on the bar. We absolutely want to make sure we understand the basics and we're moving really well, because adding intensity can only, what am I thinking of? Magnify some flaws we might already have in our movement. So let's get into this thing. Here's a beautiful kipping swing. I'm initiating the movement from my shoulder. I'm using my midline to create arch and hollow positions to maintain control on the bar. If I'm doing it correctly, I can come to a dead stop right away when I'm ready, showing control. This leads me to my first point of why it's great to practice the kipping swing. We are doing the kipping swing, and you can almost see my head punches through my shoulders, and then I bring my ears back behind my shoulders. We're showing great T-spine mobility, thoracic spine mobility. Now, if you have great thoracic spine mobility, I would wear that as a badge of honor, because thoracic spine mobility is something a lot of people struggle with. And you can see it sometimes on kipping swings, when they're trying to hold barbells or any types of weights overhead, if they're in handstands and they're overextended, just because they're having trouble getting their hands back behind their head. So I'll link this video below that goes over my favorite thoracic spine mobility stretch. It's called plate overhead T-spine stretch that you can do a few times a week that does really help you develop some T-spine mobility. That being said, if you are lacking T-spine mobility, this kipping swing, that's where people get those icky shoulder pains, because if you are standing here and can't get your hands behind your head, it doesn't make sense for us to try to take your body weight and crank that head forward because your shoulders aren't ready to go through that range of motion yet. That's where people get a little bit tripped up with the kipping swing. They're like, that kipping swing hurts my shoulders. That T-spine mobility is probably not where it needs to be doing these big kipping swings. But that takes me to my next point. When we're doing kipping swings, we don't necessarily need to see these monster arch and hollow positions where my head is flying through my shoulders. Yes, some people can do that. Do you need to be swinging that big to be doing high skill gymnastics and big kipping exercises up on the pull-up bar? No. We can do so many great things from a swing that looks like this. You don't need all of this bent, crazy legs, big scorpions in the back like that. No, no, no. If we're doing a good job of maintaining tension, you don't need a whole lot of cranking on those shoulders. Of course, we want the most range of motion and the most mobility everywhere in my body, not just talking about my shoulders. That always helps us in how we feel, how we move. When it comes to kipping exercises, I think a lot of people think bigger is better. You don't need these crazy, gigantic, scorpion, archy swings to be able to get what you want from this kipping swing. We can do a lot from just being long, little movements through my shoulders, just like this, to create kipping pull-ups, hanging knee raises, toes to bar. You don't need those big archy scorpions that crank those shoulders super, super hard. What goes along with that now is understanding what else you're developing when you're using the kipping swing. If you're doing it correctly, you're using a lot of this midline. You have great midline control. You're using these arch and hollow positions to express coordination, create power. Midline's got to be so strong. So when I'm doing good quality arch hollow kipping swings, my shoulders are initiating the movement, and then my trunk, my midline, is following me through these long arch hollow positions. And we've heard it from many of my videos in the past. Hollow, tight, hollow body makes you feel light. The big arch right here is what helps you create tension on the other half. So when we talk about training our athletes through the kipping swing and seeing if they're even ready to start moving dynamically on the bar, the first thing I'll check is, one, not rocket science right here, can they hang from the bar comfortably, or are they up here slowly slipping off? If they need to just plain and simple develop grip strength, there's no reason to be moving dynamically just yet. Have them hang from the pull-up bar for 10 seconds at a time. When they can comfortably get past 15, 20, 30 seconds and they're chilling up there, then we're ready to start moving into the kipping swing. After some newer athletes are able to hang from the bar for a little bit of time, another good exercise you guys can put into their training is the scap pull-up. We got to start being able to engage those shoulders and keep them engaged and tight and locked in, so when I start moving dynamically, I'm not loose through that shoulder. Next thing, from the hands, look down a little bit. First thing we said is check how tight those shoulders are. They're hanging right there, and they already look like they can't hang super long, or they just know they have shoulder issues from the past, from doing lots of pressing or just being really, really tight up here. Get them on some T-spine stretching, going from these shoulders down to your midline, what we just talked about. Do you have good midline strength and control? Can we do some more? And the answer is yes, because we could all do more. Hollow positions on the ground, arches, Superman hold on the ground. Do I know those positions so when I start moving a little bit faster up on this pull-up bar, I can maintain my control? That's where actually a lot of us get into some trouble when we start taking this kipping swing a step further into like butterfly pull-ups, bar muscle-ups, hanging from the rings over here. Is it getting out of control because I don't know how to use or control the rest of my body from my midline? And is that causing some crazy whipping action through the kipping swing that can eventually hurt my shoulders or damage my shoulders? So understand this, because that's what's controlling all of your body weight. If they're meeting those requirements and you're starting to work on the kipping swing, I think the last thing I want to leave you guys with is reiterating, keep it a little bit smaller than you think. If I'm showing all of those things, good shoulder mobility up here, good midline control from my trunk, that is all I'm going to need to work on these skills and get what I want out of the kipping swing. All you need is some good long tension. A couple weeks ago, I actually posted a video about the hack to gymnastics. Take a peek at that one, because that'll be a quick way to get you set on the right track of creating that long tension. This is all you need. Not all of this crazy floppy fishies on the bar. This, hanging knee raises, bigger hanging knee raises, toes to bar, kipping pull-ups, butterfly pull-ups, butterfly chest to bars, bar muscle-ups. That is all you need. So don't be hating on these kipping swings out here. They're a good tool to have in your tool bag, but let's make sure we are training with intention and making sure I'm staying safe up on these pull-up bars, getting what I want out of the movement, because if we do that and be smart athletes, you're gonna be able to develop a lot more than just pull-ups in general. If you wanna work on any of your gymnastic skills, be sure to check out any of my other videos you find on this channel, and also visit my website, RebeccaFuselier.com/programs, to find all of my gymnastics programs, from strict pull-ups to bar muscle-ups, rings, all the fancy stuff. They're always $5. And it'd mean a lot if you guys like and subscribe. If these videos help you guys, I'll see you guys later. Peace.